G'day, Professor Joseph Drew. Our media has been at it again. More misinformation. And this is really important that we correct this and call it out because when media promulgates things that are completely and absolutely wrong, promulgates things which are alarmist, uses experts who have no expertise and then proceed to make a whole heap of incorrect statements, it causes great damage to people's lives. We must do better in Australia. Please circulate this video and watch it all the way through. So this particular story is from our national broadcaster, who is a regular offender with misinformation in relation to local government now. They have my contact details. They have contacted me in the past. I don't care if they contact me or not. What I care about is getting facts straight and not alarming the public and not causing hurt and pushing people into bad decision making. Sky News, interestingly, they hardly ever agree with ABC, but at the moment they're agreeing on the idea of council bashing and providing false and misleading information to people. So it's something we've got to do, take serious action on, because it's creating a lot of problems that don't need to be there. So there's many parts of this story that are wrong. Most of it is wrong. And incidentally, it's not just our media. I read the Commonwealth Parliamentary Inquiry into Financial Sustainability the other day, and it was littered with mistakes and errors too, and they don't appear to care to correct those mistakes. So I don't understand why people don't get correct facts. They are out there. They can get them. They should be concerned about the accuracy of what they're writing, but it seems that they're not. But this is one of the alarmist comments made, and there's a whole heap of expert comments that were really alarmist and incorrect that we'll get to in a few minutes. But this comment from a poor old retired couple, and my heart goes out to them, says, "I don't know what we'll give up. The bill has to be paid because otherwise we'll be homeless." Completely and absolutely wrong. Every council in this state must have a hardship policy. If you are in genuine hardship and you contact the council, they will work out some arrangement and you will not be homeless. It is completely and absolutely wrong, and you've just put fear into the heart of a whole heap of elderly people. You probably also misrepresented the size of the rate increase. It always hurts. I copped the 36% myself last year. Hell, it hurts. But in comparison to your other bills and in comparison to the other things going up and in comparison to your income, the far majority of people will not enjoy it, will grizzle about it, but it's not going to leave them homeless or hungry. The few people who are going to be put in a very tight position because of a rate increase, it's always clearly communicated there are hardship provisions. Get in contact with your council. This is completely wrong. It should be retracted. It is just plain wrong to do this to people and to put fear into people that is not warranted. So then our national broadcaster proceeds to get themselves an expert. And the expert is Dominic Jones from the Grattan Institute. So I looked up the Grattan Institute webpage, and Dominic Jones has degrees in physics and politics. He's worked on quantum spin to solar technology. That's their own institute page saying what his expertise is. And as you'll see in a minute from his comments, it's quite clear he should have stuck to quantum spin and solar technology. So there's a number of pieces of information provided by the Grattan expert to the ABC. Too many to go through. Some of them are partly true, and they're the most dangerous things. Some of them are just out and out wrong. So here's a couple I grabbed. Since the pandemic, local governments have borne the brunt of increased inflation. Well, that's part of the problem. It's also increased costs and cost shifting that I'll talk about in a minute. The key thing that councils are copping are the construction costs. Well, once again, it's part of the truth. Councils are also extremely energy hungry. They use a lot of electricity, a lot of fuel. You know that that's gone up considerably. Councils also have a huge asset footprint and they have to pay insurance on that. You know how much insurance has gone up. But we can't forget the cost shifting, we can't forget some of the bad state government policies, such as amalgamations, which increase costs on average by over 11%. We can't forget about the central auditors, who have some interesting, the Auditor General, interesting interpretations of AASB 116, which is an Australian accounting standard backed up by law and associated with international accounting standards, that I think you would never find an accounting scholar to agree to their interesting interpretations. You have things like the doubling of audit fees because of this central auditing. We went from a free competitive market to a central auditor. It was really a cost shift. You've had things like the ARIC committees that not only consume a lot of money, but they also consume immense amounts of times of our directors and GMs and other staff. They're all adding to the puzzle. It's not just one thing. Now, it then goes on to say, when a regional council is under financial pressure, they have the opportunity to raise rates or cut services that they provide to the community. Once again, only slightly true, and this one's got very little truth in it. So we're talking about special rate increases here, increases in rates above the cap. Councils don't have the opportunity to do that. They have the opportunity to create a brief of evidence, which then goes to the Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal, who are delegated by the Minister under the Local Government Act to assess the case for an additional increase to local government rates. Councils do not have the opportunity to do that. They have the opportunity to provide evidence. The opportunity is actually with IPART making the decisions. They can't. That's not the only way they can raise additional revenue. They can put up fees and charges of non-regulated fees and charges. That's not the only thing they can do. Yes, they can cut services, but typically that's the last thing that happens. What usually happens is they delay essential maintenance, particularly on our roads, and that creates implicit liabilities, and that creates intergenerational inequity. So the statement's only partly true. The next statement's even worse, and there's lots more of these here, but the video would take too long if I went through all of them. Regional communities often are paying more in rates per person than their counterparts in major cities. Well, even if it was true, it's completely the wrong basis for making comparison. We don't have poll taxes in Australia. You might in the UK. Perhaps Dominic came from the UK. I don't know. We pay rates on unimproved land value of the property that you own. People aren't paying rates per person. They're paying rates per property. Furthermore, even if it was slightly sensible to compare rates per person, it wouldn't give you any indication of affordability anyway, just comparing those numbers. Why? Because we pay rates out of our incomes. We need to look at how those rates are associated with the total incomes coming into the communities in those local government areas. So lots of misinformation, lots of murking of the waters. This is the sort of stuff that I read, and also in the parliamentary inquiry from the same source and from other sources of self-professed experts. This is why we have these problems in local government, and we really need to get our facts straight so we stop confusing and hurting people. We've just got to do a lot better. The facts are actually out there. There are people out there, not just me, other people, such as Emeritus Professor Brian Dollery, who know what they're talking about. You don't have to talk to people who do research on solar physics. You can talk to real experts. You don't have to guess. You can get real facts. A lot of my videos have real facts in them, and you can use them in your stories. You don't have to guess and giggle. You don't have to alarm people unnecessarily. You don't have to misrepresent the truth. We don't have to keep making public policy on guess and giggle stuff from self-professed experts. We can do a lot better, and we need to do a lot better for the sake of communities across this country. Thank you very much for your time. Please send this around. We've just got to get this misinformation fixed. Goodbye, and thank you.